Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's BDF44. I'm coming at you with another video. I believe this one's going to be probably of the racial tone, I guess you can say. It's going to be that kind of video. So I hope that if you're not in the mood to hear anything like that, if that's not where your head is, you have my support to, not watch this right now and return to it when you're in a different space for it. And I say the same thing about any video that has that type of topic. Sometimes stuff is just too heavy for your mindset at the time. Sometimes I click on my own stuff and say, you know what, this is not what I'm in the mood for. And I'm not one of those people that's crazy about numbers. I'm not super insane about becoming professional on YouTube. If anything, I just want to get an organic base of people who want to interact with me and see where it goes from there. I'm not really interested in just getting the masses, trillion people watching me at one time and then just seeing where it goes from there. I'd rather have a bunch of people who are devoted to whatever it is that we're talking about or who appreciate me to that degree and will continue to return organically. I think that that's more fruitful for what it is that I want in my life in regards to this. But anyway, I hope everybody's having a good day. First and foremost, I just want to say rest in peace to anybody who's been dealing with COVID on any level, who's lost people. I send condolences to you guys. Again, of course, rest in peace to anybody whose name has been brought up in any way, shape, or form, or whose name has been forgotten, for that matter, in this search for justice here in America and beyond, for that matter. I want to give a special salute to everybody who's been standing up for what's right all over the world. The demonstrations, not only here in America but all over, have been just unbelievably moving. As an African American, people have been yelling and screaming and making noise on behalf of black lives all over. People who don't look nothing like black people, who are not even in communication with a lot of us over here, but they're standing strong and they're making sure that their voices are heard, and they're putting themselves in danger in some of these cases. And I appreciate you. I really do. What I have on my mind right now, I may have mentioned in a video here or there, so I'm just gonna say it, whatever it is, and let it be what it is. But I'm at a point in my life where, in having conversations online, as I normally do, engaging in different conversations, I just find myself coming to the same conclusions. My assessment of what I'm looking at is pretty consistent. People apply humanity to what subject matters to them in regards to this particular era. It's the same exact logic in regards to asking for humanity and peace, but it's just inverted based on what matters to them, whether it be blue lives, all lives, black lives, or what have you. People are just, they're saying, okay, well, look at the good in my side, don't look at the bad, and take accountability for what your side is doing. It's the same shit. The problem is, it's easy to get to a point where you're questioning yourself, whether you're seeing clearly, whether you're in a position to understand right from wrong, because so many people are in agreement with the opposition of whatever it is that you're feeling or whatever it is that you believe in. People are standing strong and thanking one another for not supporting your movement and standing and saying that your movement is evil. But then I look back in the past and I look at America and I say, yeah, you've always done this. That's why it's important for people who are supporting what goodness actually is to understand the spiritual ramifications of the opposition, or not ramifications, but the spiritual intent of the opposition is to pervert your message to the eyes of others and to pervert your position within your own mind by making you feel like you're crazy in whatever ways they're able to make you do that. In this case, it's like, okay, just like with the Black Panther Party, they ran around and basically told the world that the Black Panther Party was out to kill white people and not have any sense of discretion or withholding of any rage. It's just, the way that they made it sound is Black Panther Party is basically black ninjas out to kill white people. And they convinced everybody of this so everybody would be on board with this, and then proceeded to annihilate these people. And just after that, just the world continued to spin. They do this to black people and supporters of black issues who happen to not be black people. Every generation, okay? So 2020 is not new for those of us who know the history and the tactics that have been used. We know of tactics that have been used against black people. So when we hear people oppose us saying, hold yourself accountable. Yes, we definitely see value in holding ourselves accountable if we have any sense at all. The problem is when you're asking me to hold myself accountable, that doesn't actually mean hold myself accountable. That means shut up in trying to hold who I support accountable, or holding me accountable. That's what opposition is essentially saying. Just like all lives matter doesn't mean that it's compassionate about every life. It means shut up about the life that you're screaming about, because none of us deserve anything special. That's what all lives matter is. In other words, it's devoid of any compassion. And that's my true north. I understand that I'm in a world where up is down for a lot of people and down is up. I understand that I live in a country where I'm told that kneeling for the sake of protesting death that hasn't been receiving justice is wrong. And that there are so many people who agree with that it will make you feel like you're absolutely insane. Like you have no idea what good and bad is, because you're surrounded by a bunch of people who agree that what you believe is good is bad and vice versa. But the true north, my mother, I'm so thankful that I was given a good, loving mother that helped me understand, if I'm ever in a sea of confusion, where my compass north is pointed. It's pointed in the direction of, if you see mistreatment, oppose it. If you see where somebody is trying to silence those who are saying something is wrong, and they're not giving any consideration to that person's perspective, or they do more in regards to their mental power, trying to drown out that person's concerns rather than trying to address those concerns, they're wrong. If a person is putting themselves in a position to basically tell you that what you believe is right isn't right, but what they retort to you with is of no solution to anyone, you're probably right. If you're in a position where you're watching individuals who have gotten away with crimes, who have made laws to get away with crimes, who have told people that who you are is not who you actually are in your heart, and everybody believes that you are what you aren't. And then from there you find yourself saying to people, well, I'm in distress, please help. And they all look at you and say, no, you're not in need of anything. As a matter of fact, you should be happy because you're here and things could be worse elsewhere. And look at everybody else and who else is harming you. And in other words, take your mind off of what it is that you're addressing at this moment, because you have other issues that you need to address beforehand. That's wrong. That's wrong. Certain parts of the situation, though I feel like I'm in a sea of confusion, it's so very clear. And I thank God for the understanding of what goodness is. People sit out all over the world, not just in America, and say, in the name of Christianity, I'm going to oppress you, I'm going to murder you, I'm going to torture you, I'm going to take away your history, I'm going to do all this. Well, the good thing about giving the slave Jesus is that we had a chance to read it too. We had a chance to read the stories and the wonders of the Lord. We got to learn about all the turning water into wine and splitting the sea and all of that. And you know what we were able to absorb? What you couldn't keep us from realizing is that you weren't practicing what you were preaching. That we did a better job in our communities of embodying the energy and the warmth that Christ spoke of than you do in teaching us about Christ himself. So that's a true north. And it's all of this stuff is like, okay, so let me get this straight. I am one of the few who can see clearly in a matrix full of people who have yet to take the pill that'll get them out of it. And they're believing in symbols, and they're telling me that I'm wrong for crying out what's right, for right's right, and for justice. And they're telling me that a couple people who are bad over here in this group don't deserve to be supported because, basically they pervert the entire pot, and so all of us deserve to suffer because a few of us are bad. Or that some profession that was meant to oppress me, initially, literally meant to oppress me, is something that I need to value over my own life, and all of that with this Blue Lives Matter positioning. And a lot of people don't even know the history. That's another thing that I've noticed. It's a lot of times individuals who are telling us this jargon about Blue Lives Matter and that Black Lives Matter is a KKK movement, just like they said about the Black Panthers, which is complete fallacy. A lot of those people don't have the history. The only thing that they have is memories, like myself, of being in kindergarten, being told to put my right hand over my heart and reciting something that I didn't understand at all, but was told to hold sacred. And I look at all these individuals and I realize these boomers and individuals who grew up in this country were all fed that same poison. They were all told to worship symbols and value those symbols over the lives of African Americans. Like literally. Like your life doesn't matter as much as the pot, basically. Which in theory should make sense. Except for the fact that the system itself is meant to oppress only few, not everyone. It's meant to allow room for some to grow while others are forced to face more obstacles than necessary. So like it's the game is set up. In other words, the game is rigged. Yes, you can tell me to believe in your symbols. You can tell me to not be upset about circumstances that you're not affected by, that I may be. You're telling me that why do I care about certain things if I'm not affected by them? It's another part of this situation that I've paid attention to. If you need help figuring out which way is up, people are essentially telling you that you should be happy with mistreatment because mistreatment is happening elsewhere in worse places and worse circumstances. Or people are telling you, well, there are individuals around who have found a way to get an education and all of that, and they're not oppressed. They don't believe themselves to be victims. Why should you? This is not a mentality. That is a fallacy. An African American is in fact a victim because they were literally brought here against their will and forced to work for 400 years. That is a victim. This is not a victim mentality. That is a perversion of intent. That is a perversion of perspective. That is not at all what we are. They have told us that we have no right to feel as if we're victims. That is a lie. It's one of many lies that they've forced upon us, forced us to believe. I've had many people say, oh, why? Well, first of all, if you don't respect the flag, obviously you haven't fought for this country. This is true. First of all, I do respect the flag for what it's worth and what it deserves. And as far as I'm concerned, since that flag has been waving, a lot of bad has been happening underneath it. A lot of good, but a lot of bad. Probably more bad than good. So when you look at your flag and you see all this pride and this hope and all of this, I see white supremacy. I see oppression. I see ropes hanging off, off our necks. I see a lot of negativity when I look at those flags. I don't have an affinity for the symbols that I was told to celebrate, that I was raised to celebrate. And it's frustrating when I look around. I say, wow, like decency just escapes so many of us. People are so proud of one another for not standing for what's right. People are so proud of one another for continuing to disrespect the lives of individuals, black people in particular. People are so proud of one another because they have managed to turn themselves into the selfish yet lacking self-awareness entities that is reflected within the system that hangs over their heads. I know better. I know God, literally. I know him, talk to him twice a day, maybe more than that. He is not the type of God that's going to tell you country above all. He's never going to tell you that. He's watched this thing spin 1 trillion times. He's seen many empires fall. Your empire is not greater than the life of one single soul in the eyes of the Lord. Not one. We place value on people's lives. God has never put a dollar amount or a resource amount on your life. He's never done that. People have done that. America has done that. And continues to reinforce that evil for as long as we'll allow it, basically. And so many people have lived with it for so long, generations and generations and generations, to now there's so many people in this world that just honestly can't tell the difference between what's up and down. They don't know the difference between right and wrong. And it's scary to see how many grown-ups are missing the point or have allowed themselves to be effectively diverted from the focus so that they are continuing to reinforce negativity and evil and corruption and in agreement with this. Like, look, people are dying. Anybody that watched George Floyd get killed and the only thing they can come back with is a way to describe him as somebody who deserved that, you're just evil. There's no way around that. You're evil. That's not, whether you're aware of it or not, let me be the one to tell you, you're evil. You're not the only evil person. You're not the only form of evil out there, but you are a form of evil. Because essentially you're saying that person deserved to die because of reasons that someone can convince me of, for which may or may not be true, but I don't care because I'm focused on it. That's what a lot of you are saying. See, they sit up there. It's like you believe black is evil because you've been taught this for so long. Not because you know anybody who's evil and black. Not because you've been in circumstances where you've watched and witnessed black on black crime. 9 out of 10 people have never even seen a black person kill another black person, but they will run with that as a means of telling other black people that they should not support the movement that's supposed to be protecting them. It's jealousy more than anything. It's the desire to matter more so than someone else. When you have effectively told us and acted as if you have been better for 400 years, it's no surprise that you would resist this in year 401 or what have you. Because you've been told that you're the center of attention, that the world's supposed to, or the country's supposed to kneel at your beck and call, that they're supposed to support and love your supremacy symbols and not see them for the harm doing that they've caused so many. They want us to ignore this because they benefit from it and because they are proud of it. And that is a courtesy you are not deserving of. You don't deserve that. You don't deserve for us to pretend like what has happened to us didn't happen to us so that you can be comfortable. You don't deserve this. You didn't earn that respect. I hate to tell you this, America, you didn't earn it. Nothing that you've done has earned that type of respect. So as an African American, I just say, I know there are a lot of black people who don't agree with me. They're buying into the symbols. They're buying into the winner's choice is what I'm calling it now, which is choosing to be on white supremacy side simply because it appears that they have won already. When the calendar is still folding, there's still some future ahead, people. The game ain't over. They have not won. And what you got to understand is something new has been in place over the last 25 years, and it's called social media and handheld devices. Something that has never been around for any other 400 years that this country has been doing all it's doing. So now we can catch you in real time doing all that evil shit that you guys have always done for so long. Perverting messages, pinning people of color and people who don't have a whole lot of money against one another. Exploiting people, mistreating people, all kinds of evil shit that we can catch you doing on camera. You can't just do a bunch of evil shit to me, then record me reacting to it, and then proceed to tell the whole world that I'm evil and then punish me for being evil. No. Show what happened. We can show what happened leading up to it. We can show why. We can show the other side of it. We can show the antagonistic aspect of it. And there's a whole lot of that. The imprint of a pattern, I guess you could say. A pattern. It's like I don't know what to say. It's like a DNA, I guess you could say. It's like like the breadcrumbs of a certain subject. The breadcrumbs of white supremacy will always be diverting the attention away from the true subject, silencing those who are trying to rise up against that subject or that circumstance. And it will always try to convince both those who are paying attention and those who are yelling that the person who is yelling is insane and that their position is backwards, and that everyone who's watching should hate them, oppose them, and celebrate said opposition to them because of it. That's the imprint of white supremacy. You're going to see it in everything that they do. They will always try to flip shit, turn shit, and make you, who sees clearly, look crazy, second guess yourself and feel crazy, and ultimately worship and bow to their symbols. And I'm telling you, as sure as I'm sitting here in front of you, there's an expiration date on this thing we call America. I know we don't want to believe it because it's scary to think what's going to happen next, who's going to control the country if it's not run by red, white, and blue. What happens to the land? But I'm telling you, God is coming back to take this land. The white man can't hold it forever. It was never his to begin with. He didn't do right by it, and he continues, even in the face of being held accountable, to thumb his nose up at not only human beings who are saying don't do this, but at God himself. This is the realest shit I'm ever going to say. There's an expiration date on this thing, and we all need to be prayed up and mentally prepared for the drastic and very, very serious changes that are probably going to take place over the next 50 to 100 years. I don't believe anything comes fast, though I wouldn't be surprised if it does, but they're going to lose this land because they never should have had it in the first place. So, with that being said, my name is BDF44. Your true north is whatever it is. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but for myself, it is always going to be the mistreatment of human beings, mistreatment of animals and living things and innocence, snatching of innocence, corruption, and the perversion of what the true intention of whatever the subject is. They will always try to pervert it. That's your true north. Being able to recognize the imprint and the details in their DNA and the breadcrumbs that they leave behind in everything that they do. They never, ever switch it up because it's always worked. So it's easy to see. My name is BDF44. Thanks for watching. Peace.